Happy morning, students. Welcome to grade 6 English class. Today we are going to revise for the upcoming early examination. The first we are going to revise about the prose from unit 6 to unit 10. Children, our sixth prose, that is which you are going to learn for our early examination, is Who I Am. This is the prose. This lesson speaks about diversity. It tells that everyone has something special in him or her. Everyone is unique in their own way. There are 6 different people whose uniqueness has been shared in this lesson. This lesson shows light on the fact that no two children are alike. Each child is different from the other, and each one has his or her needs, abilities, desires, and even problems. It also talks about confidence and personality building. The concept of multiple intelligence focuses the learner's attention on the idea that each child is intelligent in a different way. This difference makes each child unique. One may be good at singing and another at dancing. It helps the learner to understand and appreciate the talents of different people. The lesson, that is Who I Am, sixth prose. The lesson contains concepts like visual, verbal, and interpersonal intelligence, which the children become familiar with. This helps them see others in a different and positive light. Who I Am prompts the children to know more about themselves and other children. There are Radha, Nazir, Rohit, Dolma, and Peter who talk about their interests, likes, concerns, and ambitions. Everyone is unique. Here, different people have shared their unique experience and feelings. The first person is Radha. Look at the picture. Radha shared her likings and daring acts. She said that her choicest thing was to climb trees. Climbing trees gave her a feeling that she was able to rule the whole world, though her mother often advised her not to do this as it was not good for girls. But one afternoon, she also climbed along with her, and both of them enjoyed it. Next, turn the page, children. The next the boy is Nazir. Nazir shared his feelings and wished to be a seed collector. His family owned cotton fields in the village. His father spent a lot of money on buying seeds to grow new plants every year. He wanted to stop this as his grandfather told him that in their times they used to grow new plants from the seeds of their own plants. But this was not applicable in the present times. This was bothering him, and he wanted to know the art of preservation. The next boy is Rohit. Rohit was fond of traveling. If his pocket allowed, he would have visited the whole world. His love was mountains of New Zealand and the Amazon River in South America, beaches of Lakshadweep, and the Konark temple in Orissa were also on his wish list. His choice also included city of Beijing in China and the pyramids of Egypt. He loved nature more than buildings. The next boy is Serbst. Serbst was full of anger as the people around him often showed him distrust even when he spoke the truth. When he loved his teacher that he wouldn't do his homework because his book was with Ravi, she thought he was a liar. His parents blamed him for starting a fight whereas it was started by his brother. He was feeling angry for all the distress and was trying to control it. The next girl is Dolma. Dolma was a girl of high aspirations. Her wish was to be Prime Minister. As Prime Minister, she wanted to serve her country and make things better for the people. Her belief was that she had leadership qualities. She often solved her friends' problems. Teachers showed their interest in their abilities whenever something new thing was to be done in the school. The final boy is Peter. Second Sunday of the month was Peter's love. On this day, his family often went for an outing. They watched films, ate peanuts, ice creams, etc. All this refreshed everyone's mood and they felt happy. Children, look at the seventh lesson, Fair Play, F-A-I-R, Fair Play. This prose was written by the author Premchand. He was born on July 31st, 1880 and then he was died on October 8, 1936. He was better known as Munish Premchand, being an honorary prefix. An Indian writer, he was famous for the modern Hindi and Urdu writings. His works include more than a dozen novels, several essays, around 250 short stories, and translations of a number of foreign literary works into Hindi. This story is about the realization of two friends who understood the importance of justice and right things in life. Life made them realize that justice and right things are above everything, including friendship. Look at this, children. Jumman Sheikh and Algu Chaudhry were very good friends. Their bond of friendship was very strong, and in one's absence, the others used to take care of the other's family. They enjoyed great respect in the village. Jumman had an old aunt who transferred her property in Jumman's name on the condition that she would stay with him and he would take care of her. For a couple of years, everything worked well, but soon Jumman's and his wife's behavior changed towards her. So, she demanded a monthly allowance from her nephew to he did not pay attention. The aunt then decided to take the case to the panchayat. In the panchayat, the aunt nominated Algu as the head panch. Being a panch, Algu had to favor the truth and gave the verdict in the aunt's favor. From that day, Juman and Algu became enemies as Juman, expecting his close friend to speak in his favor, harbored grudges against Algu. After some time, Algu was facing rough times. One of his pairs of bullocks died, so he sold his other bullock to Samju Shahu, a car driver. He had to pay the money within a month. Unfortunately, the sold bullock also died before the expiry of the payment period. Now, Shahu was reluctant to pay Algu the money. So Algu took the case to the Panchayat and Shahu appointed Juman, now enemy of Algu, as the head punch. When Juman became the head punch, he realized how responsible the seat of the head punch was. Algu was certain that he would lose the case, but Juman gave the verdict in his favor and ordered Shahu to pay the money to Algu. Overcome with emotions, Algu proclaimed that the voice of the punch is the voice of God. Both friends embraced each other and wept, and their tears washed off all ill will from their hearts. Algu was so overwhelmed that he declared aloud, "The voice of the punch is the voice of God." Look at the word, children. The voice of the punch is the voice of God. Both the friends hugged each other. Their tears cleaned their hearts. Both the friends hugged each other. Their tears cleaned their hearts. Look at the next lesson, children. That is a game of chance. This is our 8th prose. This lesson, that is a game of chance, as the name suggests, speaks about the fertility of the lucky charms or the bumper lotteries and so on. It shows in an interesting manner to its readers how the feelings or emotions of the innocent are played with. Every year, on the occasion of Eid, a fair was held in Rashid's village. Tradesmen would come from far and wide to sell their goods. Rashid's uncle took him to the fair along with their domestic help, Bhaiya. The place was very crowded. As Rashid's uncle met his friends and had to go with them, he told Rashid to go around the place, but not to go too far and not to buy anything in his absence. Listen the prose carefully, children. Rashid and Bhaiya went around and reached a shop called the Lucky Shop. The owner of the shop was a middle-aged man who wanted everybody to try their luck. It was a game of chance. The game required the player to pay 50 pice, pick up any 6 discs, add up the numbers on the discs and find the total. The player then would win any article marked with that number. An old man played the game and won a clock, but he didn't need it. So the shopkeeper bought it back for 15 rupees, making the old man richer by 15 rupees. Then a boy also tried his luck. He too won a few good items which he sold to the shopkeeper, gaining a good amount of cash. Seeing all this, the narrator, here the narrator is Rashid, wanted to try his luck too, but luck didn't favor him. He lost all his money as he won very small items like pencils, a bottle of ink, etc. He felt sad. When Rashid's uncle returned, he found Rashid very upset. Baya told him the whole story. He did not react. Instead, he took Rashid to a shop and bought him gifts. Back home, Rashid's uncle told Rashid that the lucky shop owner had tried to befool him. In reality, both the old man and the boy were the owner's friends who played tricks to tempt innocent people to try their luck, and the poor people could not see through their tricks. Rashid's uncle assured Rashid that he was neither foolish nor unlucky. Yes, again recall children. Eid fair used to be held in Rashid's village for days together every year. Here, tradesmen had a good time to sell their goods. This time, Rashid went to see the fair with his uncle and a servant. The servant he called as Bhaiya. A few friends of his uncle met there and took him with them. Rashid's uncle left him to look around the fair with the servant and instructed him neither to buy anything nor to go too far in his absence. Rashid gave him a word to do the same. Rashid and the servant took a round of the fair and stopped before the lucky shop. It was called lucky as the shopkeeper of the shop was asking everybody to try their luck, just paying 50 paise. Rashid noticed an old man won a beautiful clock and sold it back to the shopkeeper for rupees 15. Then a small boy got a comb but sold it back in 25 paise. In other rounds, he won a fountain pen, a wristwatch, and a table lamp, and gave all the things back to the shopkeeper happily. Rashid was attracted by all that, and he also thought of trying his luck. In every round, he received peanuts, means very little, in return of what he spent. In the greed of trying his luck, he lost all his money and became a laughing stock. They came back to the place where his uncle left them with a heavy heart. Soon, Uncle came and Baya told everything to him. Seeing that Rashid was upset, Uncle told him that it was not a matter of good luck or bad luck. The winners were friends of the shopkeeper. It was an act of befooling people to attract them towards the game to take money from them. Uncle gave him an umbrella and some other things. He also suggested Rashid to forget about all those foolish things. Children, next we are going to recall our ninth prose, desert animals. Desert animals. This lesson, as the name suggests, throws light upon the life of the desert animals and their varied unique ways to adapt to the harsh atmosphere. This lesson, that is the desert. The deserts are the driest place on earth. Sometimes they can go without rain for months or years. This lesson, that is the desert animals. Here we can see a brief explanation about desert. Desert are the places which have less water and almost no rain for months together and sometimes in a year also. Therefore, they are the driest places on earth. But animals who live here, it is difficult for them as well to live without water for a long span of time, especially during hot days of summer, so they find their own alternate ways to beat such difficult conditions of the atmosphere. For example, gerbils go underground during hot days in their cool burrows. Darkling beetle is an insect which uses a strange way to beat the heat. They drag drops of moisture from their legs, lift them in the air, and drop them into their mouth. All the deserts are not the same hill of sand. Each has its own characteristics. Some are stony and have a rugged surface with small bushy plants. Few also have colorful flowers during the spring season. Snakes are also of many types. There are about 2,300 types of snakes. They range from the smallest size, that is just 15 centimeters long, to more than 11 meters. Most of the snakes are harmless, but few are so poisonous that their one bite is enough to kill anyone. Most of them lay eggs to reproduce, but many are there who give birth to their young ones. American deserts are dry and rocky in nature. There lives an evil looking snake with a very bad reputation. One can hear its sharp sound even from a distance of 30 meters. It strikes very fast with lightning speed. There is also the rattler or rattlesnake. Its choice is to avoid people such as much as it can. If it feels disturbed, it holds its tail upright and gives a sharp sound to make the intruder move away. But if its warnings are not paid attention and it feels threatened, it will turn around to bite. The strange thing is that it cannot hear the sound its tail makes. Like other snakes, it also hears through the waves produced on the ground. Means it can feel the vibration but cannot hear the sound. Snake can feel the movement of a walking person but cannot hear his voice. How loud may he shout? Rattlesnakes are commonly found in the American continent from Canada to Argentina. Their prey choice includes small animals like mice, small plant eating rats, etc. They use poisonous toxin in their body to kill its prey. The way other snakes gulp down or eat animals completely. Their eating habits also vary. Some snakes eat more than once a week, and some, like large pythons, can do without eating for a year or more. Mongooses go hunting in groups. They always keep a place from where they can watch predators near them. It is interesting to watch them banded, poking their nose into holes, overturning rocks with their paws, and scratching the ground with their sharp claws. It is very common to view them traveling in groups of about 20. They travel in search of food. Their food is beetles, millipedes, and other small creatures. They move in groups to search for their food. But if they need to move to places which are not visible, like at the back of bushes or rocks, they make sounds like twittering to stay in touch. They take extra care to keep a place from where they can watch the animals who are dangerous for them, like hawks, eagles, and large snakes. On noticing anything doubtful, they make a special warning call to alert one another. Mongooses are known for their ability to kill snakes. They don't even get hurt while doing so. Their reactions are very fast and can move quickly after attacking the snake. They continually keep annoying the snake with their attacks until it gets tired and gets killed. The camel is another desert animal. It was first tamed by people who was kept as a domestic animal at homes thousands of years ago. Camels have unique capacity to adjust with their atmosphere, like in the forest. They live in small groups of 30. They have long, untidy hair to use as coat to keep their body warm in winters, and this long coat falls away and gets shortened as summer approaches to keep cool. Camels can drink almost 30 gallons, about 500 glasses of water whenever they are thirsty in just 10 minutes. Its body can get moisture from the desert plants and can live without drinking water for up to 10 months. Camels are of two kinds: dromedary, which has a single hump, and bacterian, which has two humps. The hump is there to help the animal to survive without water in the desert. It acts as a storage container, but it does not store water as people think and believe. These hubs are full of fat. This fat feeds the animal when food is less in quantity. When fat is used, the size of the hub becomes smaller as it is used up instead of food. Camels use many other ways as well to live and adjust in the desert. Their mouths are tough and hard. They can even eat thorns and they do not hurt them. Now, can you understand, children? This lesson, that is desert animals, as the name suggests, throws light upon the life of the desert animals and their varied, unique ways to adapt to the harsh atmosphere. Look at the next lesson, children, that is the Banyan Tree, a 10th prose. This lesson, that is the prose Banyan Tree, was written by Ruskin Bond. He was born on May 19, 1934. He is an award-winning popular Indian author of British descent. His role in prompting children's literature in India is acknowledged by all. A prolific writer, he has written over 500 short stories, essays, novels, and has also authored more than 50 books for children, as also 2 volumes of autobiographies. The author narrates an incident of a fight between a mongoose and a cobra that he witnessed as a young boy while sitting under a banyan tree at his grandparents' house. The chapter, that is the Banyan Tree, is divided into 2 parts, Part 1 and Part 2. Part 1 talks about the banyan tree and the author's attachment to it. Part 2 describes a fight between a snake and a mongoose. Now let's recall them. Part 1 that talks about the banyan tree and the author's attachment to it. The story is narrated by a young boy who lives in his grandparents' house in Dehradun. There was a huge banyan tree in the yard which was as old as Dehradun itself and was home to many squirrels, butterflies, and birds. The boy befriended a young squirrel who could play around with him and even took small morsels of food from his hand. When not too hot, the boy would spend his afternoons on the banyan tree platform by reading books, and when not reading, he would look down at the world below through the leaves of the tree. Listen carefully, children. that the part 1 stands that about the banyan tree and the author's attachment to it. The boy, that is our author, who came to live with his parents, became the owner of a large old banyan tree that housed squirrels, snails, and butterflies. A squirrel became his friend on the tree. They became so friendly that the squirrel started taking tidbits of food from his hand. In spring, the tree was the noisiest place in the garden with a variety of birds chirping on it. The boy made a rough platform on which he used to sit and read adventurous books during hot summers. From here, he also watched the world under the tree. One day, he watched a fight between a mongoose and a cobra while sitting on the tree. On one such day, he happened to be a witness to a classic fight between a cobra and a mongoose. Two other spectators also joined him, a myna and a wild crow. Both did not content themselves to watching only but tried to attack the cobra in between the fight, resulting in the crow losing his life. But the cobra and the mongoose had a battle, but the cobra grew tired and weak, and ultimately the mongoose was able to catch the cobra by its snout till it ceased to struggle. The myna dropped to the ground, looked into the bushes, and then flew away. In the part 1 of this story, The Banyan Tree, the author talks about the banyan tree and his attachment to it, whereas now in part 2, it describes a fight between a snake and a mongoose. Because of the hot summer, everyone was indoors. The boy was thinking of going to the pond and have a swim with the buffaloes and Ramu. Suddenly, a huge black cobra and a mongoose came out. The cobra was aware of the superb fighting skills of the mongoose. However, the cobra was no less. He was also fast and had sharp fangs of deadly poison. None of them knew that the boy was watching them. Other than the boy, two other spectators, a myna and a crow, were also watching them from the clump of cactus. The mongoose opened the attack. The crow and the myna also joined them in the fight and attacked at each other in the air, but returned safely to the cactus twice. The third time, the myna returned safely, but the crow was hit by the cobra. The injured crow fell on the ground. The fight between the mongoose and the snake was still continued. Finally, the mongoose defeated the snake. The snake resigned and stopped struggling. The mongoose dragged and pushed it inside the bushes. The myna was watching all this. It gave a congratulatory shrill and flew away. Yes, children, the banyan tree. In the lesson, the author narrates an incident of a fight between a mongoose and a cobra that he witnessed as a young boy while sitting under a banyan tree at his grandparents' house. So, children, we have recalled the prose from unit 6 to 10, which we have already learned in a brief way. Now we have recalled the story, that is the prose, the characters, and what has happened in the story, everything. That is who I am, prose. And then 7th one is the fair play, and then a game of chance, desert animals, and finally the banyan tree. So go through the prose carefully and then you can do your exam well. Thank you.